It's time to engage in cyber talk with the Chief of Cybersecurity.
Welcome, everyone. We're back on another live stream session. Let me get my microphone here for a second. There we go. Let's get the microphone up here so everybody can see me, so you can hear me talk. Who's out there with me today? Listeners and everybody else. Oh man, looks like the microphone don't even want to act right today, but that's okay. So we're good. All right. So we're good now. First off, before I get started, I'd like to send a shout out to all of the people that have been listening to my podcast sessions, and for all the people that stay tuned into my live streams, because there's been a lot of great information to share. And also, there's a lot of information that I'm going to be sharing in the future. In case my listeners do not know, I was in the United States Navy for 20 years. That's right, I was in the United States Navy, and in the military, I spent a lot of time working in technology. And part of what I did in technology was that I worked around large mainframe computers, and my rate was a fire controlman. Now, that doesn't mean that I walked around a ship and put out fires. So that means that I was partly of a group of people that did weapons defense, intel, and if you go and do some research on the military, especially the Navy, and if you type in a term such as SM-1 missile, Tomahawk missile, Aegis cruisers, you'll go see some of the work I used to do in the military, because I used to be a fire controlman. But what happened prior to me retiring was that I took duties down at MacDill Air Force Base. And when I was working at MacDill Air Force Base, that's when I transitioned into more of the COTS type of laptops and computers, and I was pulling cables. And this is where I got my first exposure to a lot of the commercial IT products. I was at USSOCOM, located down in Tampa, Florida, and I spent approximately 3 years down there in Tampa. And while I was in Tampa, I actually had the opportunity to take some training. And with a lot of training that I had taken, I was able to use that training to channel out of the military. Now, with my career, and when I was in uniform, it was okay. Okay. But also, I noticed that today things have changed, where some veterans may not either have that opportunity as I did. So what I want to do today is to help veterans out, because I know that there are a group of veterans that are probably in uniform now who wants to transition into cybersecurity. And speaking of veterans, I was having a discussion earlier today with a smaller nonprofit corporation that actually does a lot of training for veterans. And in my chat window here, I just posted some information as well of some great companies that you can go and research on if you're interested in transitioning into the world of cybersecurity. Now, let's just start this off for a second here, because I want to bring up some key notes here. One is that not everybody is a fit to cybersecurity. Now, I'm not here to discourage any of my veterans. I'm just here to tell the truth, because cybersecurity sounds very unique. Cybersecurity sounds like something that is very fun. Cybersecurity sounds like something that came from Star Wars. But not everybody's fit. So I just want to put that disclaimer down, because some of my veterans that are listening are saying, hey, I want to learn more about cybersecurity, but I don't want to work in that career field. Well, you have that option. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you're going to have the opportunity to actually engage into a lot of cybersecurity information. And if you want to just go to college and get a degree so you can understand more about cybersecurity, well, you can do that as well. Here's some significant facts that I want to bring up. According to InfoSec Institute, there's a worldwide shortage of nearly 3 million in the ranks of cybersecurity professionals. Okay. And it states that there's a 500,000 shortage in North America. So what that facts tell us is that there's a 500,000 open positions. How did we get here? We got here because if my listener haven't listened to the podcast, there's a term I always state, especially back about 30 years ago, we used to take information and write on a sheet of paper. And we used to take that information and place in a shoebox and put it in our closet. But today we don't do that. Much of the information that we have, we take that information and we save to our cell phones. We save it to laptops. We save it on a storage device somewhere. And then that information needs to be protected. Not so much end users as well. If you think about businesses, online access to banking accounts, think about the insurance company. Think about how now you can go online and you can check a lot of your personal information from your doctors or probably from your healthcare providers. Think about the way the Veterans Administration has now grew where much of the veterans information can be accessible online. And the back end of all that, or the fabric to all the technologies, are based around cybersecurity. So as my veterans, you all have a unique skill set that you learn in the military that you probably haven't been told about before. In this live stream, I want to focus on one is to discuss some of those very unique skill sets that you have and that you can offer to cybersecurity. But two is to give you some information that you can use to go out there in the public and research and see if the cybersecurity career field is there for you. Or if you're already thinking about transitioning into the cyber security career field, then you're going to like what I have to say because that's going to be some information that you're going to like. Also, I want to point out that coming up in the next couple of weeks, I am going to be doing a session on cybersecurity, but it's going to really take an individual that wants to enter cybersecurity from college up until the time you retire. All right. So you imagine everything that has to occur from when you decide on what college to go to, up to what courses you need to take in college, up to how do you do your resumes, what certifications that you really need to take, and what job interview skill sets do you need so that you can transition and make your cybersecurity career field a success. So my veterans, this is dedicated to you, but for the next sessions I have, please tune in to these sessions so you can grab some information. So let's go back to the veterans here for a second. So I took some notes, and as you always, and as my listeners do, know that I like to take notes. So I got a couple of notes here. And the first note says, why are veterans so well prepared for cybersecurity? I'm not going to look at my notes on this because I'm a veteran, and I'm going to tell you why. When you're in the military, and if you think about when you're told how to maintain confidentiality of information, think about secrecy. Think about the term that we used to use in the Navy, that if you lose lips, ships sink. So that means the more you talk, then you put your ships in harm's way. Think about the movement of troops. Think about your squadrons that have to go on a special mission. You cannot tell anyone. This is called secrecy of information. Part of that is knowing about confidentiality, which is the first part of the CIA triangle. You as a veteran has been taught about confidentiality. Second is that if you work in Intel is intelligence. Cybersecurity uses intelligence a whole lot because there needs to be some information about the different type of threats that are approaching an organization, or if intelligence can provide you some pre-warnings. There is a term we use in cybersecurity called predictive analytics. It's that when you can predict incidents or events to occur, but you have to have intel on that information. So this is one of the areas as well too that veterans have a advantage of. One of the other areas is situation awareness. Think about your training in combat warfare. When a battle commander or a captain of a ship or a squadron commander may just have to identify the type of risk that is opposing his unit, group, or team. When when we look at risk, we're always looking at threats times vulnerabilities. In the world of combat warfare, it operates the same way. When when a group of soldiers are about ready to go into combat, the first thing that their leader would do is take a calculated risk. And that risk is based on the threats and the vulnerabilities. And in cybersecurity, it's the same concept. Situation awareness is about the use of threats and vulnerabilities. So that you as a veteran, you have that base knowledge and learn about threats, vulnerabilities, and also risks. Some of the other factor too is that different type of technologies that you use in the military are transferable over to the cybersecurity community. If you work around a lot of crypto equipment, looking at the hardware from crypto equipment, looking at the idea of you taking data and you using a two-person integrity on that data, although it's physically a way of protecting data, but you still have the concept down because data loss prevention is one of the strong areas of cybersecurity as well. Okay, so that's something else for all of my veterans to think about. One of the things I learned, and I'll go and say this here for sure, is that outside of those skill sets, there are some other skill sets that I think that veterans bring on board. One is that you are always in that capacity for learning. If you think about when you went through boot camp and how you were forced to learn so much in 2 weeks, can you imagine learning a book about that big in 2 weeks? And you're either, let's say, your company commander or your drill sergeant that was in charge of your unit there was always pushing you to learn, and you learned so much in 2 weeks. Then out there, you complete boot camp, you're saying, wow, now how did I remember all of that? Well, see, you remember all of that because you were taught to learn information in a fast pace. One of the other areas is collaboration, is working with different teams and units because you're used to that. Because a ship has 400 people and everybody has a team. A squadron has so many people and like everybody is a team. If you look at different movies and different pictures that you may see of military personnel, you see a very strong partnership. Leadership is another factor too, because somebody has to lead the troops in the team. In this world of technology, these are the soft skills that work well. Mission focus. This is a transferable skill set too. Is understanding what the mission is and how to carry out the mission. One of the other areas too is that like you have to be flexible because cybersecurity is always changing. Friday afternoon, everything is working well, but then on Monday morning, you come in and you have a problem. Well, see, you have to be flexible. If you work in a SOC environment, or if you work somewhere like around a vulnerability management space, you understand what I'm talking about because you just completed the cleansing of so many vulnerabilities, and then you get this indicator that said Microsoft has like 100 KBs that are coming out. Well, you got to start the trend over again. See, that's where flexibility come in because if you're in the military, and I know this for some of my Navy friends out there, I remember the days when the captain said that we're going to have 2 weeks in Jamaica. Everybody was happy. But then the captain said, oh, that changed. We got to train for 2 weeks. All right. So all my shipmates that got the haircut, all my shipmates that were trying to learn how to uh, adapt to the port visits. Well, you know what? You have to change that. Okay, and some of the other areas too is that being a problem solver. Like you taught how to resolve problems. And one of the other things that I also like to bring up too is that veterans are taught how to be a human firewall. When you think about the human firewall, that is having that defensive mindset. When you work into the area of cybersecurity, you need to have that defensive mindset. Think about those days when you ask someone, why is it that they need access to the building because you don't see a badge? That is having that defensive mindset. Although it's a very, how could I say, soft skill set, it still carries weight because a defensive mindset means that you're the guardian. And if you ever notice that when someone goes to a military base, and if you go to the entrance gate, all the military personnel are probably standing up with their weapons and they give you this look such as like, you're not going to come through this gate. Well, cybersecurity people are the same way, especially when individuals ask for access to information, ask for accounts to be elevated, ask for information such as how many IP addresses on a system. They don't want to share that information. So what I've given so far are some of the transferable skill sets that you can have. And one of the most unique skill sets, or pretty much, I could say, strong attributes, is to have a clearance. If you have a clearance when you come out of the military, it really helps out in the job search. It shows that you're trustworthy. I remember when I came out of the military, I was trying to get a job with a local company in Jacksonville. And the company did a background investigation and said that you have a clearance. I go, yes. They goes, well, we can't hold your clearance, but at the same time, um, you know, like we got a little bit more trust in you. That was out of the interviewer's mouth right there. And I said, wow. So although they're not honored, but it does show that you're trustworthy. So let's move on to something else here and talk about what is it that you need to do as a veteran to go push yourself forward. All right. So as I look in my chat room here, and I and I definitely want to go to the chat room here. So we have several. Let's see. Let me see what I got in the chat room here. StreamYard, Global Podcast Studio is here. Okay. Global Podcast Studio is the place where I host a lot of these live stream events at. Some of the training that you need to take. So let's talk about the GI Bill. The GI Bill is your bread and butter. The GI Bill is the place that's going to give you that money so that you can get your college degree. And also, too, the GI Bill will go pay for your certification because I used Voc Rehab when I got out of the military. And Voc Rehab paid for my CISSP certification and also paid for my test. And I remember that the training was about $4,000, I believe. So not so many people have $4,000 to cough up for a 5-day course. But there are some alternatives that I'm going to talk about in case you don't have the $4,000. Some of the other things here is that certifications are very important, as I said before, but likewise, it can be expensive having certifications. And later on, I got some secrets to tell everyone here that you're going to like as well when it comes to certifications. So let's keep on going down here. One of the areas that you have to focus on if you're going to work for the government is DOD 8570. DOD 8570 outlines what certification you have to have for a particular information assurance category. If it's IA level 1, 2, or 3. Now, the CISSP will qualify you for most of the DOD 8570 jobs. If you go online and type in the term DOD 8570, you will go see all of these certifications and where they fall. The CISSP will probably push you up the ladder. The Security Plus will get you in. And there are some other certifications out there as well. And as I posted in my window here, there is some agencies out there that I kind of want you all to follow, and I'm going to put one in here now. And I have a friend of mine that has a smaller segment of a workforce development company, and I'm going to type it in here real quick here, and it's called Diversity Cyber Council. Okay, if you are able to go out there on the internet, and if you type that in there, okay, you're going to find out that there's some great information up there. All right. If you go there, you're going to find some great information, especially on a workforce development program that is currently being built. It's the first ever workforce development program designed for cybersecurity in the city of Atlanta. I strongly advise everyone to go to this site, and if you know any donors, you talk to your donors and you tell them, hey, go to this site and donate, because as of now, it is driving a difference for cybersecurity. And later on, I am going to have the director on a one-on-one live streaming, and he's going to tell you more so about the Diversity Council. Okay. In fact, tell you the truth, I think I put it in the window here as well too, and I want to make sure that everybody see it here, because yes, I did put it in the window as well too. So you make sure you go there and you check out diversitycybercouncil.com. Okay, one of the other areas too that you want to make sure that you stay focused on, the NICE National Initiative for Cybersecurity Careers and Studies. This is sponsored by the DHS, and actually, speaking of the DHS, they just committed to a $1 million grant for cybersecurity education and training for veterans. So if you go to the DHS webpage, and you can see the company that is sponsoring the training. One of the other elements that I found out too is there's something called Cyber Vet USA, which is sponsored by CMS. CMS is the Center for Medicaid and Studies. If you go there, you're going to be able to see the Cyber Vets program. These programs are really good, but there are other programs out there on the market. I thought I could bring these up because I thought these were some of the better programs that were out there on the market. And as you search and you look for different funding, then you can grab one of these programs, and I'm pretty sure they're going to help you out. But I would say strongly go to Diversity Cyber Council first and reach out to my friend, Mr. Odie Gray, and I'm pretty sure he can guide you in the right direction. Some of the other things I want to talk about is that there's a lot of myths. And these myths are that you are a military veteran, and this is what you're going to face when you're trying to enter the cybersecurity workforce. You are going to have to take a pay cut. No. All right. Think about your skill set. Do your research and see how much everyone else is getting paid. Do not agree to that you have to take a pay cut. You don't have to take a pay cut. The industry is paying probably now with a clearance and entry level, probably $75,000, $80,000 a year. Okay. Why should you sell it for $40,000 or $50,000 a year? Okay. Because you have the skill sets. It's just learning how to articulate your skill sets and to being able to let employers know what you have to offer them. Second is that someone can put a 90-day hold on the job. I have yet to hear anything like that. In fact, when I was coming out, I was told the same thing, that my position, or let's say if I applied for a position and if I was hired, that a company could hold it for 90 days. No, companies don't do that. All right. So we can dispel that rumor. TAP class. TAP class is very important, and TAP class definitely help you out, but you need more information. And more information meaning that you have to look outside of the TAP class and try to look at some of the other areas that you can get information from, which is from my YouTube channel, because I have a lot of podcasts up there and I have a lot of information that's going to grow you from stage one up until you retire out of cybersecurity. All right. So if you have not subscribed, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and actually become one of the great persons that is learning more about cybersecurity, and spread the word to the other veterans out there. If you have veterans that are in uniform and thinking about trying to get out of the military, send them to my YouTube channel. State government. I'm not against anybody that's working for the government, but you still can have options if you decide to work outside of the government. If per se you want to go government contracting, well, that is a plus. If you want to go to corporate America, some of the larger companies like Google, Microsoft, definitely like veterans. If you look at some of the larger companies like Lockheed Martin, um, somewhere like IBM, somewhere like Dell SecureWorks, because these organizations, which is like a Dell SecureWorks and IBM, are heavily cybersecurity focused as well too. So you have options. And part of what you have to do as a veteran is that make sure you establish options for yourself, because the more options you have, the more choices you can make. And part of those options are to be prepared to go to a TAP class, to go and learn as much as you can about whether the cybersecurity career field is for you. And if you still don't know whether that cybersecurity career field is for you, I would say that if you got a copy of my book there and read it, you're going to learn a lot about cybersecurity, and you see how the industry works, because the cybersecurity mindset goes so beyond the technical scope and to try to take cybersecurity and to build that puzzle. If you think about uh, like a DNA molecule, right? And how you have 24 pieces to this molecule, and take that molecule and let it represent cyber security. And if I took 24 areas of cybersecurity and if I labeled them across those 24 blocks, and because it's a strand and all of them make up the genetic makeup for cybersecurity, and if I tear one of those blocks down, all those blocks are going to fall. So that's kind of a picture that I'm drawing in my book so that readers can understand how cybersecurity operates. Some of the other things to talk about is that cybersecurity is challenging. Cybersecurity is ever growing. Um, if you were to go out here now and actually think about some of the things that the industry face with cybersecurity, you're going to see that it's a changing market. As a veteran, you have a unique skill set, and tap into your skill set and see whether cybersecurity operates for you. Some of that may be that you have to do some research, and some of that may just mean that you go on YouTube and listen to a couple of videos and try to understand how cybersecurity operates. Or, like I just stated, is that if you get a copy of the cybersecurity mindset, it's going to break cybersecurity down for you, and you're going to see how cybersecurity people operate. You're going to see what they do on a daily basis, besides sitting behind a computer, because there's a lot of thinking and there's a lot of proactive engagement strategies that have to go on as well. All right. So to all my veterans, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and the Coast Guard, and the reserves. All right. I hope the information that I have given you today serves as the foundation to you learning, whether learning and seeing whether the cybersecurity workforce will go work for you. There are numerous amount of information on the planet. There are a lot of workforce development programs happening. I was down in Augusta about 3 weeks ago at TechNet, and this is an annual conference that is held by AFCEA. And AFCEA is called the Armed Forces Communication Electronics Association. So they are a private organization that hosts these government contracting conferences. And I went by a booth, and one of the reps were telling me that there's a program now to train military spouses on cybersecurity. So I don't know how deep the program may be, but I tell you what, if someone can find some more information about that and share it with me, I'd be glad to share it with the group. All right. So I always say the group, and because the group is my YouTube channel, and I would like for somebody to grab some information and share it with me. And I'm talking some viable information. Also, too, I want to pose some questions here because I want to do a free book giveaway. Now, here's kind of what really needs to happen. I'm going to pick 3 questions that's posted to my LinkedIn page, and you can go to the LinkedIn page and you can see this live broadcast here. And the top 3 questions that are posed to me, especially about this live streaming here, which is about veterans transition to cybersecurity. I want to pick 3, and after I pick 3, then I'm going to pick the question that carries the most weight. All right. So whatever questions carry the most weight, I am going to autograph a copy of that book for someone. All right. So you have to pose questions to my LinkedIn page, and then I am going to pick 3 questions, and I'm going to see which one of those carries the strongest weight. And whichever question carries the strongest weight, I am going to personally autograph you a copy of my book. All right. So that's a giveaway. And as always, you are only as safe as your mindset. So everyone, please stay cyber safe.
You've been listening to the Chief of Cybersecurity Livestream. Please join the YouTube channel and purchase your copy of the Cybersecurity Mindset.